So far, all of these scripts we've written run from top to bottom, executing every single line. For temp conversion, we start with line 1, then we go to 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then the program is done. But what if we wanted to do something only under a certain condition? For example, what if we wanted to print a message that it's freezing outside, but only when the temperature is actually 32 degrees or lower? For Celsius, that would be 0 degrees or lower. Well, currently, we do not have a way to do that. There is no way to conditionally run some code based off of what we know, but we're going to get into that in the next couple of videos. In this one, we're going to start exploring that topic by learning about our third data type. We have strings, we have numbers. In this one, we're going to learn about Booleans. Let's go ahead and create a new file to mess around with these. In here, Boolean, Boolean.js, and we're going to start by creating a new variable and setting its value equal to a Boolean. I'll stick with the is freezing example, equal. Now for strings, we type some quotes and we put some stuff inside. For numbers, we just start typing out our number. For Booleans, we have two potential values, the Boolean true, where we just type out true, or the Boolean false, where we type out false. That is it. Now, this is actually a really useful data type because think about a lot of different situations where you have something that either is or is not. Is the password valid? It's either valid or it's not. Is it freezing outside? It's either freezing or it's not. There is no third state. It's either yes, no, on, off, true, or false. So we're going to be using Booleans a lot, especially when it comes down to creating programs that do something conditionally. Now, before we continue on, let's go ahead and console.log is freezing, and just get this value printing to the screen. Over inside of the terminal, we can run this one, node boolean.js, and when I run it, what do I get? I see false printing. If the value was true, I would have seen true printing. Now, in most situations, we're not going to type out a static Boolean value. We might, for example, get some input from the user, and then we would use a comparison operator. Comparison operators are going to allow us to see if two things are, for example, the same, or if one number is greater than another number. There are 6 main ones, and I do want to take a moment to explore those. So right here, let's create a variable. Let temp equal, and I'm going to stick with 31 degrees Fahrenheit, where 32 degrees is the freezing cutoff. Now we could imagine that the temperature comes from the user, and instead of just having the static Boolean here, we're going to use one of our conditional operators to generate a Boolean. So is freezing is still going to be true or false, but we'll be generating it based off of some operator. And we're going to start with the simplest and most common one, the equality operator. Are these two things equal? Right here, let's go ahead and play with that. This is, first up, a reference to temperature. I'm trying to check if the value stored in temperature equals something else. Now, after a space, we add the equality operator. This is 3 equal signs in a row. 1, 2, 3. So on the left-hand side, we have value 1. We have our 3 equal signs. On the right-hand side, we have the other value. Let's go ahead and stick with 31. So is this value stored in temperature equal to the value 31? And the answer is yes, they're both the number 31. The end result is that is freezing is still a Boolean. It's the Boolean true based off of this comparison. Now we can save the program and rerun things from the terminal. What do I get? Right here, I get true printing. We could see this switch to false by switching up one of the values. Let's go ahead and check if the temperature is equal to 32. 31 is not equal to 32, so if I did rerun the program, what do we get? We get false. So this is the first operator, and I'm going to make a little note of this up above. In a comment, triple equals is the equality operator. Now we have the equality operator, but we also have the opposite of that, where we can check if two things are not equal. That looks a little different. We can keep temp and 32 exactly the same. I'm just going to delete the 3 equal signs and replace it with an exclamation mark followed by 2 equal signs. This is going to return true if the thing on the left and the thing on the right are not equal. Are they equal? They are not, so I would expect is freezing to be true. If I run the program, this is exactly what I get. We're getting is freezing having a value of true, which is correct based off of the conditional logic we've set up above. So that is our second one right here. Exclamation mark, 2 equals. This is the not equal operator. Now, these can be used for all data types. So if I had string values up here, like the string Andrew, I could check if it's equal to something else. Let me go ahead and switch back to the equality operator and type in the string Andrew here. Are they equal? Yes, they are. And once again, we will see the Boolean value true print if we save the file and run the program. Now, if the values were different, like if I added a space at the end of the W in the string, this is going to result in false for the Boolean value because they are not equal. They share some of the same characters, but not all of the same characters. So running the script is going to result in false. So we're going to be using the equality operator and the not equal operator for a lot of different data types, but for numbers, we have another set of comparison operators we can use. Let's go ahead and switch temp back over to a number. I will stick with 31. Down below, we're going to still reference temp. I'm just going to remove the current operator as well as the string Andrew. Let's go ahead and kick things off with less than or greater than. To make a less than comparison, we use the less than symbol on your keyboard. That is Shift followed by the key just to the right of your M key. Then on the right-hand side of this, we put the other value. So is freezing can be calculated using something like this. Is the temperature less than 32 degrees? If it is less than 32 degrees, we'll have the Boolean true right here. If it's not, we'll have the Boolean false. Based off of this data, what would we expect? I would expect it to be true, and it is indeed true. If I switched it up to 32, I would expect it to be false. Since temp is not less than 32, they're equal. I rerun the script, and that is exactly what I get. So right here, we can outline this third one. Less than operator. Excellent. Now there is a less than operator. There's also a greater than operator, which is just the other symbol right here. This is Shift followed by the period key. And what do we get? Now we get a greater than comparison. Is the temperature greater than 32? Once again, it's not. They are equal. But if I did switch it over to something like 100, it would indeed be greater, and I would get the Boolean true printing. So let's go ahead and outline this one as well. Right up here, greater than operator. Now we have greater than, we have less than, we also have greater than and equal to, or less than and equal to, right here. To do that, I just put an equal sign after the first symbol. So this would be greater than or equal to, and this would be less than or equal to. And this is a little more like the temperature comparison we want to set up. Now, if it is 32 degrees, we are going to get the Boolean true. Well, 32 is not less than 32. They are indeed equal. And this comparison operator is going to catch that edge case. So we can go ahead and run the script. And what previously returned false now returns true. So let's go ahead and make a note of those two as well. Right here, less than followed by the equal sign, less than or equal to operator. And the final one is greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to operator. Excellent. So these are the main 6 operators that we're going to be using to set up conditional logic inside of our JavaScript applications. At this point, we just know how to generate these Booleans. We don't know how to actually do something dynamic based off of its value, and that's okay. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up with a little challenge, and we'll explore that topic in the next one. Challenge area. Imagine we're creating software for an amusement park, and we want to offer discounts to people who fall under certain age ranges. For example, if you're under 7, we'll call you a child, and we'll say that you can get in at a discount. If you're over 65, we'll say you're a senior, and you can also get in at a discount. And everyone else will just get blanketed in at some sort of standard rate. Well, we can use our comparison operators and use someone's age to figure out if they are a child or if they are a senior. So right here, you're going to use 5 lines to get that done. First up, create an age variable set to your age. So we're going to start off with an age variable as the basis for our calculation, just like we start off with a temp variable up above. Then you are going to calculate is child. And that's going to be if they are 7 or under. Then you are going to calculate is senior. If they are 65 or older. And then finally, you're just going to print both to the screen right here. Print is child value, and then print is senior value. So we're going to have a few variable creation lines up above and a couple of console.logs down below, following a similar format as we used up here, just with a different set of data and a different set of comparison operators. So take some time to knock this one out and then plug in some sample data. If the age was 7, I would expect is child to be true and is senior to be false. If the age was 30, I would expect both to be false. And if the age was 65, I would expect is child to be false and is senior to be true. Take as much time as you need to knock this one out, test your work, and when you're done, click play. Welcome back. How'd that one go? Hopefully you were able to get it done. Let's start by creating age. Let age equal your age. Mine's 26, so I'll put that right in there. Then we're going to move on to the calculation, figuring out if based off of that age, the person is a child. So right here, I will create a variable. Let is child equal, and then we're going to set up the comparison operator of choice. In this case, it would be less than or equal to. So is the age less than or equal to 7? If so, we're going to qualify them as a child. If not, we're not going to qualify them as a child. That is it for is child. We can move on to the next one, which is senior. Is this individual 65 or older? Let is senior equal, and then we're going to set up the comparison operator. Is the age greater than or equal to 65? If so, they are a senior. The final thing we wanted to do was to just test our work by printing the values to the screen. Console.log right here is child. Then down below that, the final line for the script, console.log in parentheses, printing is senior to the console. Now we can go ahead and actually save the program and test our work. With an age of 26, I would expect both of these to be false. Over here, I'm going to use clear to clear the terminal output. Then I'm going to rerun the script. Node boolean.js. When I run it, what do I see? I see that is child is not defined. So right here, it's pointing to the exact place where I made a mistake in my program. Now I could go back and refilm this and pretend I don't make mistakes, but typos are part of software development. So when I see this, I can realize that C isn't capitalized, even though I'm pretty sure I made it capitalized. I did, so all I have to do is fix it down below. Excellent. Now we can try again. I'll clear the terminal output and rerun the script by using the up arrow key twice to get to the command I ran 2 commands ago. I hit enter and we get false and false for is child and is senior. Now let's tweak that value. I'm going to set it equal to 1, in which case I would be a child and I wouldn't be a senior. That is exactly what I get over here. True, then false. And the final thing I want to test is my is senior calculation. Let's use 65, which would qualify you as a senior based off of these values. And right here, we get false for child and true for senior. So there we have it. We now know how to create Boolean variables. We also know how to use comparison operators to generate Boolean values. With all of this in place, in the next one, we're going to figure out how to actually do something conditionally in our program based off of these Booleans. I'm really excited to get to that. So let's go ahead and jump right in.